Yebo.
Of you, do you recognize it?
Yebo.
Yes.
Where was this document made?
Number 9 Beatrix Avenue, Russell Centurion.
Number 9 Beatrix Avenue, Russell Centurion.
And who was the taker of that statement?
Ngicabanga ukuthi uBrigadier
I think Brigadier Gininda.
And when you sat with Brigadier Gininda to take that statement, was he in the company of somebody else, or was it just the two of you?
Nkathi ke Brigadier Gininda esithatha konake le statement kwakuyena kuphela noma kunomuntu ayehamba naye ngalelo langa lelo?
ngicabanga ukuthi wayenomunye asebenzisana naye.
I think he was, sorry.
Sergeant Mohale.
I think he was with a colleague, Sergeant Mohale.
And when the statement was made, you were interviewed for the purposes of making this statement. What language was used?
Uluphi ulimi enani khulumisana ngalo?
isiZulu.
isiZulu.
And obviously, for obvious reasons, I take that he also spoke Zulu, so you understood each other.
Ukusho ukuthi nanizwana naye kuliZulu nizwana.
Yebo.
Yes.
And after making this statement and the contents of that be reduced to writing, was it read back to you?
Emuva kokuthi ke istatement lesi ke sesenzile ngomagama esebhale phansi ke ngabe wathi uma seqedile ke wakufundela lokho abhaliwe.
Ukucacisa kulokho istatement ngazenzela mina kodwa ngangisenze ngesandla sasingathayiphiwe.
To explain to that, I reduced the statement to writing myself with my own handwriting, but it wasn't typed.
Okay. And your handwritten statement, once you were satisfied with the contents thereof, you then initialed all the pages and signed the signing page and had it commissioned by a commissioner of oaths, correct?
Umusuqedile ke wa initial noma wa sign ke emuva kokuthi ke emuva kwaloko sasesikhommissionwa ke.
Yebo.
Yes.
And you are satisfied that the document in front of you confirm that it's your statement?
Ngilisekile ke ukuthi lesi siphambi kwakho isona istatement sakho.
Yebo.
Yes.
Thank you, my lord. I mean, that as the court places. The statement reads.
Good morning, masterminds. We are here again, me and Njabulo. We are back. Yesterday, Njabula showed us confirmed actually Ntansi's version of events regarding the places that they took him, and we managed to tear the evidence of the witnesses, the state witnesses apart. So now today we are going to start with the infamous Constable Zungu. Remember, the state's case is relying upon Constable Zungu. Zungu is actually the main witness in this case. This case can be made or it can be broken depending on the credibility of Zungu's evidence. Now, you saw that a video that Njabulo played for us there. That was when Zungu testified in court. So Njabulo is going to tell us actually what that is all about. Now, please do the usual when you come in the house. Please like, please subscribe, please share wide and far, because we are going to analyze the main witness in this case. From today on, we are going to analyze everything that the main witness did, because Gininda in the state's case is only dependent on the evidence of Constable Zungu. Let us welcome Njabs again in the house. Good morning, Njabs.
Morning, Mastermind. Good morning, Suspect. The video clip, I'm just going to play it again because there's a crucial part that we need to listen there. Remember, our theme is that the credible witness that has testified before Rata is Ntanzi, according to my analysis.
Mm.
Now, we will see a huge contrast what Zungu says and how the court takes the nonsense that Zungu and the lies that Zungu has actually said in court, compared to the truth that Ntanzi says, then the court just discredit that. So the court is doing something that is unusual that we've not seen before. Now, on this clip of Zungu, I want you guys to listen carefully to Zungu himself under Ramsipil. Remember, yesterday, we've said Mshololo has done sufficient information with little resources to discredit the very critical information that is in there, which is the gun. Now, Ramsipil, I know we criticize them, Mrs. Petne, because we love them. That must be clear. We criticize them because we love them.
And we are supporting them, and we are here to assist them.
Yes, if we are a good people, we should say if we shouldn't be agreeing with them every time. That's it. Now, Ramsipile here, he was very, very strategic when he was asking Zungu about his statement, because he wanted the statement to be on record.
On record.
Now, yes, you will. Can you see my screen now?
I can see it.
Yes, I'm just going to try and play it here in the middle. But what then happens is that Zungu confirms that it's his statement. He wrote it himself in his own writing, and he commissioned it. But the judge denied that. He even refuses to listen to the record. Let's listen.
Ukucacisa kulokho istatement ngazenzela mina kodwa kangisenze ngesandla sasingathayiphiwe.
To explain to that, I reduced the statement to writing myself with my own handwriting, but it wasn't typed.
Okay. And your handwritten statement, once you were satisfied with the contents thereof, you then initialed all the pages and signed the signing page and had it commissioned by Commissioner of Oaths, correct?
Umusuqedile-ke wa-initial noma wasayina-ke emva kokuthi-ke emva kwalokho sasesikhomishonwa-ke.
Yebo.
Yes.
And you are satisfied that the document in front of you confirmed.
Now, that's what we are here for, Suspect. We are saying to the real masterminds that the judge kept quiet. He didn't just keep quiet, he even used his authority as a judge to stop us from listening to the recording, because Mnisi wanted the recording to be played so that he says, Zungu, please give us your statement, your handwritten statement. You've mentioned this thing when Ramsipile was doing a cross-examination. That alone, Suspect, it shifted from being a written hand statement, commissioned statement, two pieces of paper, slips, and everything. But then now, Suspect, on Monday, as much as we criticize Mnisi for what he said, we're not criticizing him for wanting more time, but we're criticizing him for not updating the court before the date and saying, I'm not going to be able to do that. But anyway, we're not lawyers. But if the judge, Suspect, is saying to Nisi, you're not judge, he read 60,000 pages. Now, if he read 60,000 pages and the court record, why didn't he say, guys, I think while I was reading, I may have noticed that I may have denied you defense to listen to Zungu's lies.
Yes.
Now, do you see how I always say that as South Africans, we cannot be hypocrites?
We cannot.
Now, for Judge Rata, I'm going to say these things based on the court records, Suspect. He's being a hypocrite in a way that he's first has told us that he's a judge that listens. He's told us that he's a judge that reads. He has told us that he's a judge with 50 years experience. He has told us that he loves law. He loves South Africa. He's been at the defense, he's now at the judge. He understands everything, and we respect that from him. But now we're saying, why are you quiet? If indeed you've read that 60,000 pages, you've given us permission to call your partner as well as your kids to confirm that you read 60,000 pages. But then if you want us to do that, this is the record, Judge Rata. This is what Zungu said. This is when I said you shielded Zungu.
Yes.
By shielding Zungu, you delayed justice for the Mewa family. By shielding Zungu, you've been perceived to be biased. Because being perceived to be biased, Justice Kuhn has told us it only needs 1 or 2 members of the public or citizen to take certain instances that happen in court, then says you are perceived to be biased. Therefore, the judge needs to shift away.
Yes.
He needs to recuse himself. He needs to
Exactly.
shift away, because now, if I am suspected as an ordinary citizen of South Africa, I've got this record, I've been documenting this case. I am not able to trust any decision that Rata will make
Yes.
that is against the accused person in this regard. But then also, not even against the accused person, but any decision that he is going to make that will seek to be serving justice for the Mewa family. Now, people will be confused. These are instances that the judge has actually done. This, for me, is unforgivable, because on the record, Zungu says himself he had done a handwritten statement. Now, he must remember that he must not be the one who's crucifying Mnisi for not being prepared, for being a slow reader. He's a fast reader, but he's keeping critical evidence. You see, he's a fast reader. So now, does he want Mnisi to be like him, to skip critical evidence that will save Muzi on his case? Now, this is very important, suspect. I've actually introduced today's discussion via Zoom, and now I've also mentioned the 60,000 pages that the judge said he has read against Mnisi. And Mnisi is the one that also asked the judge to play the record against Dungu.
Yes.
And now Zungu is the same person that is also a key to the freedom of accused number 1. Let me tell you why I suspect. You see, it becomes interesting, because when you see how number 1 was arrested in 2019, accused number 1 gets arrested in 2019. Zungu is instrumental in that arrest. And number 1 had already said that he was taken to Chlorocop. Guess who confirmed the version of that? It's the police. If then now, what will have been the reason for number 1, for Muzi to be taken to Chlorocop, if it was not for him to be beaten up and being questioned? But this is what happens then. Zungu is the fake mastermind of this case, of creating this nonsense that is happening in that court. Let me tell you why again. Zungu is the one that first says, the accused number 1, Muzi, was working with accused number 5, and then they threatened him. What did that actually trigger? It triggered for General Lishabane to be called. General Lishabane was a general who was responsible for the cluster of Kuruleng at the time. Now, when he's getting called to come there, and he says, but no, wait a minute. Is this the same person that you're saying was working with this thing, with Mose, and they threatened to kill you because you have information about the Mewa family? And Zungu said yes. General Lishabane, what then he did, he called Makubu. When he called Makubo, Makubo went there, and then Makubo says, no, this guy is lying. That's Zungu's version. Zungu's version says, then Warrant Officer Makubo and Telezi, they're saying that he's protecting the Kumalos or something like that. But then Zungu is the one that says Makubo did not want to believe his information, but he didn't say that Makubo, when he arrived there, he says there is no way that you can see number 5 because number 5 is already in prison. I've arrested him. Now that's Zungu again. That is the same Zungu that said he had handwritten statement. But Zungu didn't stop there. Zungu continued to spread, and he went to say he went to meet up with to Telkom Towers. He says he met up with the general who was now retired at the time from the police, who was not working at the police. He introduced that general into the space again. Now, how is it possible that a non-serving police member can be called to discuss the sensitive information of the police? That's Zungu again introducing this person into this area. Now, when Makubo comes to court, and then he confirms the version of accused number 1 that says, I was arrested and was taken to Chlorokop. I was questioned with relating to the Senzo Mewa case. I was never asked about the drugs. Now, Makubo comes to court and says, I remember Sbia. I was called there by Zungu. And then I said, there is no way that Zungu will have seen Sibia okay with number 5 because number 5 is already in prison. Then suspect maybe while I'm taking a sipping water, maybe you can remind us what did Rata say about Makubo in that court when Makubo was testifying?
He humiliated him. He even told him that he's just a mere warrant officer. And his rank is equal to someone who can clean the shoes of the brigadier. That's how he perceived him in court. He didn't even really want to listen to Makubo because he said that's hearsay evidence. How can it be hearsay evidence when Makubo was there? When Makubo was called into that meeting? When Makubo was talking to Alishabani, and when Zungu was there, Makubo was part of that meeting. And he even told Advocate Ngomezulu that I asked him, he was very rude, he asked him, are you going to call them? Are you going to call Shabani to come and testify? Because someone cannot just come here and come and say things if those persons are not going to come and testify. There's when Ngomezulu said, yes, my lord. Yes, my lord. If the state is not going to call them, I will make an application to call them. There's when my lawyer said, no, but the state is going to call them. They are on the list. And Ngomezulu said, but they are not on the list of the state. And then my lord was supporting this version of Baloy to say, but no, you cannot call state witnesses. And Baloy never called them. Baloy never called them. But here in this court, here is the brigadier whose shoes must be cleaned by Makubo, who are testifying on behalf of witnesses of which we told us that they are deceased, but we never saw the death certificates. Who is going to confirm their versions? Who is going to confirm their versions? On the topic of Mnisi, who put Mnisi in that situation in the first place? Isn't it the same Judge Rata who afforded Sibia legal representation on his terms It's either, he told Sibia that it's either you take one of these 4 lawyers or you represent yourself. If Sibia was allowed or afforded the opportunity to bring in a new lawyer, maybe the case could have proceeded. But the same Rata forgot that we have been in this court for more than 3 years. Time have been wasted by the state for more than 3 years, and he's not complaining about it. Now he's complaining when Nisi said, you know what? I need more time. I need more time. And I'm also alluding to what you are saying in Jabs. Judge Rata is biased. He's biased. I will say it now, I will say when I wake up, I will say when I go to sleep, and when I wake up again. He is biased, and he is allowing this nonsense in court, and he's ignoring crucial evidence, and we must expose it.
Yes, suspect. Because these things, it's it's not just Zungu. We're gonna go in detail on Zungu on these things, because our theme is then all these lies that have actually happened. Now, when Zungu there says Brigadier Gininda was with Mohane, Warrant Officer Mohane, listen to this clip. What Gininda says when he's being told that one of his employees was lying, he became speechless.
When it was firstly put to him, during cross-examination, that Ntanzi was assaulted next to an engine garage by the persons that I've mentioned, he denied having been next to an engine garage, and he denied the assault. That's what Mohane said. Firstly denied. But now, getting into the AVL shows that there was a stop at engine garage in Albert. And he further confirmed that after he saw that the AVL shows the location of the vehicle at that time.
Yeah, my lord, no, I hear what Counsel is saying, but it's I don't know what to say. I was not here when Sergeant Mohane testified. I was not there. I don't know how could I assist in that.
No,
Saying, but I hear what Counsel is saying, but it's I don't know what to say. I was not here when Sergeant Mohane testified. I was not there. I don't know how could I assist in that.
Now, suspect, that's the mighty Brigadier Gininda. But he has not told us. Yes, he has not told us that he has since said, if then this is what Mohane said is lied, then my lord, I will have difficulties to trust anything that also that Mohane has told me that he has done on this thing. Because Mohane has lied to the court. Now I find it hard to believe now that I must question that is Ntanzi's version correct now. But then now also both Brigadier Gininda as well as Judge Rata, they're all quiet. You see now, this is what we're saying, because people must not come through and say, we wake up any day and decide that somebody is biased. Brigadier Gininda is biased to his employee that reports to him that he has not since disciplined him and charged him. Why IPID is not investigated that part where Mohane's lies are actually there in court. But then now we're also hearing IPID that is busy in somewhere in KZN with people that saying that they intervene justice. What about people that goes to court and lie in daylight about people's lives?
You know what? Talking about IPID and Jabs, I have reported this matter to IPID a long time ago. To the executive director of IPID, Mayor Jennifer Nkatsing, to say, I'm sure you are watching this case. And I'm sure you can see how those police officers behaved and how they committed, their conduct was just pure criminally. And they even lied to court. And she said to me, the message is on my phone. She said, Patricia, we are waiting.
Show us.
We are waiting for this matter to conclude. And then we are going to charge all of them because the evidence is there. We are waiting for the court file. We are waiting for this matter to conclude. And then we are going to charge all of them. I just want to go. You can proceed in the meantime.
But it's so sad, Sispet, that they can have to wait
There's
for
the
people
thing.
to be punished.
Because
Yes.
already, yes, there's the truth, but what I always like to do in jobs, I want to put something on a record to say I did report it to you. I did report it to you so that they cannot come back. That's why always when I speak to you, I don't like to call someone because there's no records of call. I like to put something in writing and then I can refer back to that record.
Yes.
You might delete my messages, but me, Patricia, I don't delete anything. I keep records. So,
Yes.
I just wanted to put it on a record. And even if we can go nationally, I have a lot of messages with the executive director of but I will have to go through my phone because I reported this thing a very long time ago, you understand?
All right. Good.
So
Yes.
I'm going to waste time. Next, I'm going to send you a screenshot. Then in our next live, you will put it there. I did report it to her. So in short, what we want to say here, since the state's case relies on Zungu's evidence, remember yesterday we touched the issue of Zungu saying that you went to Tops to buy liquor. Yesterday, I didn't want to mention it yesterday because I know I've worked in the firearm, liquor, and second-hand goods environment. Back in 2024, it was not allowed for liquor outlets to sell liquor on Sundays. So there was no trade of liquor on Sundays in 2024 in terms of the National Liquor Act.
2014.
2014, sorry, thank you for in terms of the National Liquor Act. So on that Sunday, Tops was closed. The Spar was open, but the liquor side was closed because liquor stores were not allowed to trade on Sundays. Another lie of Zungu.
And the judge is quiet.
The judge is quiet.
And the brigadier is not charging Zungu for saying, but Zungu, you can't be coming through to us and telling us this nonsense. How is it possible that in 2014, you can tell us the story?
How can our brigadier not know that back in 2014, liquor stores were not allowed to trade on Sundays?
Even Advocate Baloy.
Even Advocate Baloy is quiet on that.
The researcher, Dr. Sibande.
A whole doctor, a whole PhD graduate doesn't know.
I expect him, with all respect to him, but I expect him to research these things for him because he still has a long career before him. Exactly.
And now he's killing his career together with these old people by just going with the flow. I mean, in jobs, Ntanzi, I believe that when Ntanzi looked at all these landmarks, his brain was absorbing because it was about survival. Remember, it was in the lockdown.
I've got something. Yes. I've got something then to show you while you're talking about Ntanzi and his brain. We said that he saw something. Can you see my screen?
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Now, people suspect when we were making reference to the incident of the 2014, it's the incident where the actual crime was committed.
Yes.
Now, in 2020, between 2018 and 2021, Morocco Police Station has lot of cases that involves ATM bombings.
Bombings.
Yes. So now these rubbles on the ATM, when he says rubbled, the ATMs, ABSA ATMs that you see, this is some of the example. Look, this is what is happening. ABSA ATM, this was in 2022, but some of that will have happened earlier on. But there is record of all of these things. Now it says, where is it? Regina Mundi. It's the same place behind the Sasol garage that we spoke about, Sispet. You can continue.
Can you also beam those other 2 pictures of the dumping site that I sent you this morning?
Yes, let me while we doing that, let me just try and show the AVL, because people were actually asking us why didn't we show them the AVL
report,
so that they can look at the coordinates. I'm not sure. Can you see my screen?
I can see, but you can zoom in. I think you on 175. I can read it, but I don't. Yes.
All right. So, for example, I want us to go to the 19. Let me go to page 28. I think it's the one that has 28. It's the 18th. This is 9 o'clock. Let me trying to see 29, 11. The 18th is what? Speed violation. It's the 19th of June. Okay. Let's try and do this.
This is the 18th?
Yes. I want to take them to the time of Para. Para is around
okay.
Yes, 3:10. So it's page 28. Coordinates of Para on the 18th. Because people wanted
to go and check for themselves.
Yes, and look themselves for their coordinates instead. It was around 2 o'clock. You see?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ignition off.
So now, Carltonville. But the Para they went to.
Okay. I don't think this is the 18th.
Yes, it's the 18th. Carltonville. Let's go up. We must find Soweto.
Okay.
No. When did he go to that? Yes. No, but anyway, gosh. 10. Did he went? The 19th was Friday.
Yes.
So when did he go to court? He went to court on Friday. The 19th. Yes. Then it didn't go. Well, that's the day of the confession. Sorry, guys. Let's quickly go to 32. Sorry for taking you guys on a roller coaster. This thing, 31. 33. Speed violation and 1. Let's just see. At 2 o'clock. Enskman. Is it? (19:05 a.m.) Remember the 18, the 19, that's when Tanzi was around for many hours.
Yes. Where
they took him everywhere. So it's the 19.
19 in the morning. Go down.
This is 11 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Yes.
Go down. This is around 2 o'clock. It starts here. Ignition off. Near
yes, that's when they leave.
Yes.
Yes, that's when they're leaving. There's Ring Road, entry, Helderberg. You're gonna see once they enter Soweto near N12, Old Posh Road. There is it. You see here in the
Okay,
358.
GPS unlocked, 14,
Yes.
15, 48, 15. Near
Yes,
Old
let's
Posh.
go across.
Okay.
Yes, there's it here, 315 and all that. So let's look at all. Now, it cannot say GPS unlock and then keep coordinate.
Keep
So now, if it's
coordinates,
GPS unlock, you see there's the coordinates here.
yes.
You see, South Africa, this is what we're trying to say. That even if it's GPS unlocked, then where did this coordinate came from?
Come from.
There's it here. South Africa, you can look for your own time. Here are the coordinates. See where these coordinates take you in. I bet this coordinate will put you inside bar.
Oh, Njabs, we are left with a few minutes. Can you please just beam those dumping sites that Ntanzi spoke about that was also disputed in court?
Yes, the system
And I remember you spoke about the cables, the copper cables. And
Yes.
someone gave me information and said, indeed, PRASA was there. PRASA closed in 2019 due to copper cable theft. So on that one, Ntanzi was also accurate because he was speaking about these open what you said yesterday is open lines of yes. So everything that Ntanzi said, we are confirming it. And everything that Zungu say, we are going to dispute it. We are going to prove that Zungu was lying about these 5 accused. And that we are also going to give you the reasons why Zungu lied about this in our next edition. So stay put. We will come back and we will expose more. By the time we come back to proceed, a rata would have been exposed, because what we are doing now here, we're not just only exposing the state, we are also exposing the judge who are ignoring very, very, very crucial evidence. So please, masterminds, real masterminds, please like, please subscribe, please share, because we are going to bring you more. Now we are busy with the main witness on who the state's evidence is relying. Until later, bye.